Welcome back, and thank you very much for staying with us. Tourism is a big contributor to the country's economy, but with load shedding taking place at a time when tourists are due to arrive en masse, many businesses who rely on tourist spending are set to suffer. Load shedding directly impacts tour operators, clients and travel agents in the tourism industry. The power outages prevent staff to use their PCs, internet and office phones. This means they could be unable to check availability, made online bookings or even respond to incoming queries. We now welcome in the studio the CEO of Tourism Business Council of South Africa, Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa. Sir, good afternoon and welcome to our program.
Good afternoon.
When I look at you and I'm a tourist, I imagine a dark hotel room with no TV, cold water. What an inconvenience to come to South Africa. What do you have to say about that?
Look, the tourism industry has been, in general, very, ahead, of the curve when it comes to, servicing our hotels, especially for big companies, and big group hotels to service those rooms. You can't have tourists that are coming from all over the world. When they arrive at your hotel room, then there's no lights. So we made contingency plans, especially in the big hotel groups, whereby, they've got generators and then they're able to keep the hotel lights on. Yes, it does impact the smaller operators, especially those that are smaller businesses, whereby, they're trying to impress a client, they just want a tender, or a corporate company want to use them to do their corporate travel, and all of a sudden they cannot deliver the service that they've promised. So it does impact those guys. Smaller B&Bs, it does impact them in terms of, things that they need to deliver, and also keeping the B&B on. So it becomes a problematic, on that point of view. But the industry itself has, for many years, been preparing, and we have in big hotels put contingency plans to make sure that we don't have this interference on service delivery.
Are you able to quantify in terms of, like the inconvenience and the losses on the impact of load shedding generally? Yeah,
look, for tourists that are coming in here. For example, tourists that are coming in here and they are doing what we call fully inclusive tour or self-drive tours. So you rent a car and then you want to go to Durban and then you want to refuel, you get into a station, boom, there's no electricity. That will have an impact. So can you quantify, how many people are turned back? I don't think at the moment we have a large number of people that are not coming to South Africa because of load shedding. What we always do in the tourism industry is to turn any situation into a positive one. And I'll give an example. When you have a road that's not tarred, going into an attraction, you always sell that because we're selling authenticity of the country. Now, load shedding is not authenticity. It's a disruption, to business. We try to make the situation better by, making sure that, we have contingency plan, as I've said. But it is problematic. It disrupts business. For those generators to start, it takes a long time. So those problems are not about to go away. But
you are aware that this is business and there are no excuses. Yeah. And you have to sell a product. If you have to sell South Africa as a preferred tourist destination, and you have load shedding as a problem, surely it's not something that a client needs to consider in your favor. They pay a lot of money for that.
No, absolutely. That's why we cannot afford to have, a situation where you've got a 300-room hotel, going all dark. We can't afford to have that situation. Now, it costs businesses, money to invest in this generating units, either buying large, generators, buying petrol or diesel to make sure that those function. We have seen this, with the situation that we had in Cape Town with water. Large hotel groups went and put desalination plants to ensure that, there's continuity in business. So one thing that we've always done in tourism is that we make sure that there's continuity. And there's also huge investments, that have been made in terms of, putting solar panels in many lodges, in a Kruger National Park, and many surrounding areas and other parks to make sure that, we continue to have light and we'll continue to deliver service. Our business, as you said, is dependent on delivering what we've promised to the customers and exceeding those expectations. And with load shedding, it does, become a problem, at other establishments, especially the smaller one, like I said, to deliver those services that are promised. But as an industry, we've done a great deal of work.
The problem does not even lie with hotels. Imagine getting out of a hotel where you didn't get a proper service, and then you have to go to the streets. They are, inconveniences in terms of traffic lights not working, so the tourists may not even have a smooth traveling day to go to their various destinations for sightseeing and all that. So this is going to now bring the bottom line, sentiment. Yeah. When you suffer negative sentiment, how are you going to sell South Africa to say, come to us, this is who we are all about a beautiful landscape, beautiful destinations and so forth?
Yeah, you're quite right. It does have a damage to brand South Africa. When we're a country and then we're going out there, we're selling the country and say, well, come to South Africa, we're going to give you a 14-day tour. And then you arrive, there's a gridlock, and then the traffic lights are not working. It's a problem. People are not arriving at the hotel on time. They miss certain things that they're supposed to do or that was planned to do.
Yeah, or even on their way to the airport.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or they could be late to go to the airport. So that becomes a problem. And it is something that we are concerned about, from the tourism industry. And that is why, we call on the authorities, to fix the situation as fast as possible, to make sure that there are alternatives. If we have to put solar panels on top of, traffic lights to make sure that we have continuity, we have to do that.
Okay, you're parting short now. What do you have to say to those who are inconvenienced in the service provision and also receiving the service that has to be provided and it doesn't reach them?
I want to say that the tourism industry, has prepared itself for this. We're an industry that's resilient. We always prepare because we understand the customers that come into this country. Now, there are inconveniences, especially to smaller businesses, that are unfair to them, and especially smaller businesses that we want to grow. That will make a huge impact in terms of transformation and so forth and so on. So we do want, government to solve this problem. It's negative to our brand. When we go out there, we put South Africa up. We sell experiences, and we want to continue to sell the experiences, but we want to do that with electricity and with an ease of travel and the movement of people.
Well, one wonders how you're going to sell it when there's a word load shedding there. I thought your parting words will be load shedding must fall.
No, it must fall.
Okay.
It must fall, but let the authorities who are responsible for that, they must do the job that they're supposed to do. We will do what we're supposed to do. We've promised that we're going to grow this industry. We promised that we want to double the number of tourists. We promised that we can create 2 million additional jobs by 2030. We can only do that if all these things, all the aspects that supports tourism, are well taken care of, and electricity is one of those.
All right. Thank you very much for making time to speak to us.
Thank you.
All right, we are speaking to Mr. Tshifhiwa, who is the CEO of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa, Mr. Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa, and talking to us about the impact of load shedding on tourism. In other news now, the Financial Sector Conduct Authority has revealed the 2 people at the PIC who have been debarred from financial services